All right. I don't know if there's a necessary to do a call to order, but.
So as looking at these, I mean, do we want to, Jody and I discussed a little bit, are we wanting to go through each one just quickly, and if there's any comments or discussion?
Yeah,
or-
I think we should, just to say yes, no. Some of them obviously are longer than others.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, that's just like one sentence. Like
Right,
the
right.
address, all you gotta do
Yeah.
is hover over it.
Exactly.
Yep, that's right, keep it moving.
Yep.
anything, so the first one, 0-100, is just definitions.
Question on this one, let me just review it really quickly.
Oh, this is the Dewey at the deputy clerk.
I'm gonna move over here, 'cause I
Yes,
can't see
The
board.
deputy clerk,
Yep.
and then all of our other, I think they were right. It took me a while to figure out that they were alphabetical order, because I'm like, well, why is the deputy clerk or the other one's not next to the clerk? But then I figured that out, it was alphabetical order.
Yeah, and
Oh, I have a question. Who is our district records custodian?
I am,
Okay,
by-
that defined somewhere else in,
In our current board policy.
it is?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
That's why when someone does like an open records request or
Mhm.
it just goes, not that I just delegate the
Yep.
who pulls it or where it comes from, but.
Oh, yeah, it says the DRC is designated policy 8310. Now, is that our policy or Neola's? The 8310?
That would
These
be
would all
Neola's.
refer to
Okay,
Neola's.
all right. So that will become our new.
Yep.
Got it.
Now, some districts, especially larger districts, they'll have a position that's just district record custodian.
Yeah,
We had a district come and visit us for Project Lead the Way, and they're in Illinois, and they're about our size, but they have a full-time person that just builds the public records requests, because it's so many.
they have that many?
So they had a person who was hired, that was their position in their work.
Better to reach out to.
Wow. I mean, you've never felt like we've needed that, right?
And the problem is, you do,
No.
you know, Wisconsin, K-12,
Oh, what? No.
like, it's Viva, kind of, so I'll reach out to Viva and try to get a record request. But she is an open enrolled student, so.
Okay, so the school district is required to appoint a medical advisor. Who is our medical advisor?
Dr. Wolver.
Oh, okay, all right.
So we have, the district nurse coordinates with, and I can't
Okay.
remember the gentleman's name before Dr. Wolver, but then so he is the medical doctor, has to sign off on certain.
Was it Dr.
forms.
Peterson?
Could have been, that sounds right.
I think it was Dr. Peterson,
For
and then
a
he
long
moved to
time,
North
yeah.
Carolina. I know Dr. Wolver very well.
Yeah, I'll CC you my email to Joan at Viva right now. And, yeah.
Did you guys see anything in there that,
So a lot of times.
Not other than adding the deputy clerk,
okay,
Is, parents will say like, oh, I've been.
which I think Tim gave us language on different policies, I think we just insert that on the definition.
Yeah, I just made a note to reach out because I don't think I have
So
that definition.
Besides Jody's for discussion, I mean, it's all.
there's a few other things that I wanted to, yeah, that one's good with me,
That was good.
other than just adding that one.
Name,
She actually starts
Name,
there.
yep, that
We're
was
good?
fine.
So, yeah, we got.
purpose,
I think these were all fine. Do we have,
I did add a comment on that one, if you could reopen. Jason.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, don't we have a
we have a
stated,
mission statement,
Yep, and
do we wanna put that in there?
otherwise, we would have to adopt a separate mission
I-
statement, so I thought
Yeah,
it made sense.
I feel like let's add the mission statement in here, don't you think
Is
so?
under,
Under purpose, 0112.
yeah, so that was another, a comment I was gonna make was philosophy. Do we, if we put it under purpose? Yeah,
Oh, you feel like it,
well, was it the philosophy of the board, or now that you say it, purpose
no,
probably
I
is
think
better?
it's more under, I think the mission statement falls under purpose
yeah,
better.
I agree. Yep,
And then we also have like district goals, you know, that is a separate policy,
Okay,
so we'll wanna put that somewhere.
right.
Well, in the we believe, which that could fit under the philosophy.
And yeah, I think I might have linked both of them under my comment there.
Yeah, I like the mission statement and purpose.
yeah.
Mhm.
So when we do that, is this considered editing their policy? Because we can only,
Yeah.
like, does that add to the
It
threshold?
is, but
You know
there's
what I mean?
nothing in this that
Nothing
we
that
need
would
to
be
be worried
liable.
about legally.
No,
Yeah,
don't we get like a certain
It's
amount?
per
I think
policy.
it's 10% for some reason, it's sticking
Yeah,
out
it's-
in my
Yeah,
head.
but it's,
I thought it was 5%.
no, it's 10%, but it's per policy.
Right,
So,
Okay.
so that
okay.
policy wouldn't be
Right.
covered by their,
right.
but that policy, it's
Again, it's-
inconsequential.
Yep.
We don't, yeah,
Okay, that's not, we're not like taking down, by editing this little sentence, is it decreasing our overall? Okay,
no, it's per policy.
Yep,
Sweet,
and there may be some policies, like we have one in here recommended, like, because we spent a lot of time on our public comment policy.
yeah,
Where Jody recommended, I agree, just leave our public comment policy
Okay,
in place.
yep.
So there's, knowing that, and really, to be frank, I think that's kind of a sales gimmick on their part anyway,
Yeah.
because we have our own legal liability insurance, they're just saying, if you were to get sued because of the language of our policy.
Yeah.
We'll cover,
got it.
not if we violate our policy or whatever,
Right.
so. All right, the boundaries just says,
Yeah, I think I put a note there, we have a policy currently that shows, you know, what.
Yeah, I just felt like that was super vague,
Yeah,
and I would like to
put our language. in
put
there.
our language in there of what it currently says.
Okay.
And they are correct, I mean, there's a hyperlink there, it should be comprises rather than is comprised of. It's just cleaner, but,
Okay.
yeah, I prefer to put our language in there.
All right, we'll do that.
Canceled and done.
Classification,
That only took me like.
And that's just a legal thing, right?
Yep. it's a legal thing, so not really anything to
Yep,
change there. Address,
so once these are cleaned up, like the areas that are struck out, that will all fall out.
that'll fall
And
out.
it will look like a normal.
Yes, all those
Okay.
little parentheses will be gone, yeah.
Okay. Nothing with the address, that's fine.
hey, we're flying through this, yeah.
Do we wanna say the Elkhorn Area School District rather than this district, or I don't know.
I think that falls back to the definitions
Oh,
policy,
okay.
so anywhere we say district, it's referring to.
It's referring
the
to
Elkhorn
us.
Area School
Okay.
District.
All right. Yeah, I didn't see anything with board powers. Did you see anything with philosophy of the board, Adam, that you,
Nothing that stuck out,
okay,
I mean, yeah, there's,
I think, is this a good place to put in our we believe, or the board goals that were in the current policy?
I would think so. If they're currently part of our policy,
what does that look like?
Yeah, can we pull up what our current one
Mhm.
reads?
Most of this is broad, it's vague enough to, you know what I
Right.
mean? But
That's why they kind of have you start with this section. It's the
Okay.
easiest one.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
always the optimist.
I need to get you a new picture. I don't have light brown hair anymore.
See, and this speaks right to make our educational philosophy operative.
So we could choose to not adopt the Neola philosophy and keep this one would be an option.
Honestly, I don't know if I've looked at this one very
Yeah,
closely. When was the last time this was edited?
99.
Yeah. And before that, 1991. It's probably one we should review anyway.
I've always felt that it's, I mean, we've used it as a guiding principle, that and the blue thing, that it, I mean, we fit and fulfill it, it's generic enough and
Yeah.
still relevant, but you want me to
I've just,
pull it up
I've
now?
never really, taken
Thank
the
you.
time.
I was squinting. Well, maybe we should pull this one up for review. The number 2 and number 5 in 1999 are read a little bit different than they do in 2024. So when I read, recognize each student as an individual and should be treated as such, I'm a little nervous with the climate of the,
How does that, what makes you nervous about it?
well, lawsuits, issues, situations that we're in for individuals, and if we're treating an individual as,
Oh, because of the whole
yeah,
pronoun thing?
well,
Is that
and
what you're referring to?
that and bathroom usage and what, I mean, if we have to, I have to address somebody as an individual, then does this say that we have to treat them as an individual and give them the individual requirements that they need? See what I mean? I don't know, just, it sticks out, I don't wanna belabor this either, but that sticks out as well, at risk. And, but if we're treating an individual,
This is our multiple level systems of support, so forth.
Yeah. yeah, I'm not that worried about that one, it's 2 that each
Um,
student is an individual and should be treated as such. If I read that and I want some special attention and I want a special,
yeah,
I would,
I don't know, I mean, we're not the board, we're not a collective. People are individuals. I don't know, I think it's a pretty basic statement.
I don't think it expands any rights, I think it's
Yeah.
just saying that we recognize that each kid's unique and different, has different needs. We'll
Right,
strive to fulfill those, and, you know,
Right.
certain issues that, yeah, it doesn't mean we're going to or are capable of granting you everything that you want or need, but that will treat you and look at you as an
Okay.
individual kid.
Right,
Which I think
and
most
we'll
parents
do it.
want.
yeah, of course, and that what is right for one student, especially educationally, is not necessarily right for another student, so.
okay,
Now, this would be a time though, we could, I mean, there's no reason, we don't have to transfer that over. The other, where's our, we believe
Okay.
statement, let's see. Is that with mission one? I don't think it is.
No.
Isn't that the philosophy one you were just in?
All districts are. Differently, all children
Trying to read it over
are-
there. see
Oh, yeah.
if it's even worse.
All children are valued and respected. Effort, motivation, and challenge are essential to learning. Taking an active role in the learning process is every student's responsibility. Helping children realize their potential is our foremost priority. Learning is a lifelong process that takes place in the home, school, and community. Schools foster students' abilities to make decisions, cooperate, and accept responsibility. A diverse community contributes to educational growth. Quality education depends upon dedicated, well-trained staff. Safe, healthful, up-to-date facilities enhance the learning process. Continuous improvement leads to excellence. Schools and communities help students prepare for career success in a competitive global society. Schools model and teach good citizenship skills. Open communication is essential to the school, parent, and community partnership. Yeah. Yeah, where is that in our policy? Do we know?
That's,
Must be. Maybe it's under school and community relations.
Linda. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna brush my teeth and floss again, so that they think I take better care of my teeth than I do.
Yeah, it's probably under the board one, but
I know, and I know that they know, and they know that I know that they know. And it's really a moot point, but
either way,
hey,
we
there's
can-
nothing that says we have to transfer over. and-
no, but
I think it's, I'm at the
Um,
point where I have to tell them like, yeah, it's time for those.
I will say that when
I think this is a good,
looking at positions, I've had several individuals who have stated that I saw the district's
Yeah.
mission, belief statements and goals, and myself included was one that when I looked at,
Mhm.
was looking at the district, is this gonna be a good fit? Is this where I wanna
Yep.
go? Having that outlined,
Yep.
that it's like, okay, that does reflect values that I espouse.
I feel like
Okay.
this, wherever it is on the old one, I feel like this would be
Good
the
in
place
philosophy.
to add that, don't you?
Let's circle back to the new year.
Would you be more comfortable with that we just find our we believe statement, put that in the philosophy? Adam, than the other
Well-
one?
As the,
I think it's good to
Jill should be down.
state like the three things that they have there that,
And as Brendan and I.
Um, because those establish kind of the
I was meaning
overarching
in
guidelines.
addendum to or down below.
Yes,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah,
It would be
yes.
addition
Not
to,
in
not
place
in
of.
place of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's add those in addition to,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see it replacing what's already
Right.
there,
yeah, I don't think.
because I think those three statements kind of give us the framework of the operation of the board.
Right. And it reiterates again that statutory requirement and purposes.
Yes. All right, are we on to bylaws and policies now? 131.1.
Yes.
Jody, you had a note in here, I think I didn't even know that the policy allowed for just one reading of an existing policy. We would, as long as I've been on the
Mhm.
board, we've always done two.
As long as I've been here.
Yeah.
We've always done.
So I kind of feel like that's the way we should go, because it just continues the practice of what we've been doing.
I think and this is just me speculating, but
Yeah.
I wonder if the reason for that policy that we currently have is if there was something where we needed to get a policy changed quickly.
But there's another way to do that according to
Okay.
these policies that we are going through. There is
Okay.
provision for that.
Okay. So, yeah.
yeah, I would like to stay on the two.
Yeah,
Like,
I
if
do
somebody's
too.
absent for
Right,
some reason.
That-
I was,
and it allows I mean, generally, people who are on the policy committee have already gone through that process.
Right.
And so it's just presenting it to the full board, but it also, that's when it's getting presented to the community. And it gives the community an opportunity
For feedback.
for feedback.
Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely stay to it. Even with 331 now, I asked to push it because some things just take longer.
Right. So I'd like to see, whatever our current policy says, I'd like to change it to two. And I guess this would do that, right?
Yeah, now, this is a question, what I've heard from other Neola users. Cause what they'll send us is like quarterly, here's the package of, here's these 50 policies.
Yeah,
And with little minor grammatical or little minor changes that don't substantially change the actual policy. And so that's why he said oftentimes districts will just authorize changes. So like if you're changing the comma or
yes,
parentheses, if you're not changing the intent of the policy, just make the changes or update it and not bring it through the full reading.
They call those
Board.
technical corrections.
I was just gonna
Sure.
say, there's a provision for that in here about the technical, or the district administrator doing technical
So are you
corrections.
okay with that? Cause up to this point, we would have brought even technical corrections to the board or through the policy committee and so forth.
Yeah, I'm fine with a technical correction. In fact, I just saw one in our current policy, or whatever we were looking at, there was the period should be inside the quotes instead of outside the quotes. Super simple thing, but that's something that that doesn't need to go
We
through
don't
a
need
policy
every-
committee to
Right.
Yeah.
make that change.
So thinking about like our employee handbooks, or maybe not employee, but our student handbooks, those
Yeah.
generally go to the board as one reading. Moving forward, do you want them to be two?
Yes,
Two being,
Two readings?
yes. Like you're saying, separate.
I would like them to be two readings.
Yeah, because we asked for more time on that anyway,
Mhm,
and this would give us
mhm.
even more time, so yeah,
Right,
definitely.
yeah. Especially if somebody's, a board member's out of town for a week or whatever.
Joe, you said the student handbook and then do we get them at the same time? Do we get all that at the same time for,
Yes, because we have one K through 12
Right.
handbook.
okay,
The employee handbook's a separate.
And yeah, that's separate,
okay.
And
but we
those
do
we've
accept
taken for two readings.
that. Yep, okay,
yeah.
Okay, yep. So-
Yeah, I think we should do two.
All right.
Okay, we're done with that one?
I guess I assume so.
Okay.
Do you want to go back?
Nope.
Okay.
Selection of district administrator.
You do that.
That's pretty straightforward.
They take the second choice. We didn't buy the administrative guidelines packet,
Okay,
however, we do use,
do we have some, so is this a policy that we should be adopting or just using what we currently have?
he's saying we typically don't, we don't have anything in policy right now that speaks to administrative guidance or guidelines, but there's, let's see. But, so for example, our transgender support.
I was
plans,
just
administrative
thinking of that.
Our club creation, there's so many things, where to park, and those would all be administrative guidance or guidelines that aren't board policy, but they're, directives from the administrator. So I think I would still leave that in, but not reference policy 1230.01 because we're not
Thank you.
purchasing their
Right.
subsection.
Okay.
if
And
that
you'll
makes
see, like,
sense.
we don't even have
I was
the
just gonna say,
1230.01.
Yeah,
yeah, we don't have anything equal to administrative guidelines at this point.
Correct.
Okay.
but currently we don't have a policy that speaks to that specifically, but that's that's a common function of any administrator is to give guidance or guidelines to their staff on day-to-day operation or whatever. So, okay, either way,
Do we, so say this is implemented or how it currently stands, is the board, not that it comes to a vote or approval, but is the board made aware of a guideline that is created? So if the gender sport plan is created,
Yeah.
do we get notified that that has been created? Not that we're
yeah, no, I would say that one, the board was, but I would say on every single main thing, no, I can't think of. Unless it was just like an update. It's not that we have that many,
This
but
is,
it's more,
this,
Yeah.
I look at this policy as how we're currently functioning with a board that trusts their district administrator.
gonna, agreed,
But Jason's not always gonna be here.
agreed.
And so are we setting up a future board with a future district administrator? I mean, hopefully the board has done their due diligence
Yep.
and hired the right person. But what if they didn't? What if the board made a mistake and hired somebody that that they don't trust? And
I'm,
the district administrator starts giving administrative guidelines that,
how long, just playing, how long do you think it would take for the board to
well,
hear about administrative
Well,
guidelines that
that's
aren't,
that's the thing, like, is there an easy,
at that point, I would think that the board would maybe start making some policies to
Yeah.
take away those rights, but I don't know, I'm trying to think of future boards.
it's kind of like,
I'm with you. I mean, I'd like to, again, and I reiterate what you're saying is we have a very unique situation here.
100%,
I think what you just said, Julia, though, is accurate, like, my functioning on the Gateway Board, we only have 8 policies we oversee as Gateway trustees.
yeah,
And then everything else is left to the administration to create policies and governance for the
Wow.
institution. So we only oversee 8 overarching ones, which are very high level mission
Yeah.
focused.
yeah,
But if there was anything that we felt, hey, wait a second, this is out of line, we could ask, would like to see what's your administrative, what are your policies related to this topic?
Mhm.
And we could always change, we're supposed to stay at that high level, but we could always direct them or change. We had one where I had a community member, which I knew, he's a large asphalt company over in Raymond area, and he had complained about the bid process, because Gateway had in their administrative guidance that you had to provide youth apprenticeships within that trade to be a union. Well, they didn't say you had to be a union shop, but in order to bid, because this was a non-union contractor, you can't get youth apprenticeships in the asphalt work unless you're a union contractor. So in a roundabout way, by them having that provision in there, they
Yeah.
were excluding
yeah,
the largest local
Yeah.
asphalt company in our area.
yeah,
And we were paying, well, Gateway was paying more on those bids. So long story short,
yeah,
is the board member asked them, hey, wait a second, we don't like how this works. We didn't reword it. Administration went, they reworked it, brought it back and provided an update. Here's how we changed it. Is that satisfactory?
yeah.
And we're like, yeah, that works. But I see what you're saying, I guess I think, I mean, either
Yeah, I don't
way,
wanna, I don't wanna set up a future board.
either way,
Bad
an administrator
situation.
or a principal, whoever it is gonna have to give guidance to their staff and so forth. Even myself, once in a while, if I have a principal who sends something like, oh, wait, guys, that's kind of not in line. Well, that's part of us working together to find out, what fits within our leadership style or the philosophy that we're wanting, and how do you carry that forward? And we can just say, the other option is we stay silent on that. Because it would either have a policy that speaks to administrative guidelines, or there's no policy on it, or modify that the board would be made aware of any administrative guidelines.
I would almost say nix it or be made aware of. Right, and nixing it, and that's where we're kind of at now. But I'm torn now, because I see you saying about reducing tires. Yeah, because I'm still gonna have kids in the district.
But I'm just saying, you could get a rogue district administrator making administrative guidelines, and then it says such administrative guidelines should be binding on the employees and the students of the district when issued. I mean, at that point, it becomes a board issue and they
Yeah.
have to deal with their district administrator. But
Does this happen often? I mean, I can
Oh,
only think of.
those are options for you to select. You don't have
Oh.
to select those.
oh, it's
So I
like,
was just thinking this top paragraph is all I
Oh.
would recommend to write there.
got it.
Okay,
Okay, so we could do it so that we don't have those two options below.
Or you could even add this one if you wanted. The authority to take necessary action in circumstances not provided for in board policy, provided that such an action shall be reported to
yeah,
the board.
that's,
Oh,
I'd
that's
be
neat.
I'd
That
be
makes
comfortable
sense.
with that,
that's the one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't wanna,
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, so I do this first paragraph and then this
scratch
right
the
here.
C policy 1230.
Option two.
Yeah, okay. You got that, Jody? Yeah, that makes sense, and that gives the board the notice.
Mhm,
Perfect.
mhm.
And it lets the administrator move forward on an action that isn't covered in policy, which I can't think of.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, like that matter that I, gave you a call on, Julie.
Yeah.
Julia, from,
Yeah.
how do we want to move forward? It's not in our policy. but,
Yep.
yeah. All right, judicial.
Do we have anything like that option there right now? Or do we even have anything close to this?
But I think they're already outlined in our employee handbooks. This would be typically. And in our. So for example, if there's an action with an employee and they want to have a hearing before the board.
Right,
But
Which
those
we've
would be
done.
spelled out under other sections. This would be
yeah. 'cause we did that.
theoretically, if a parent had a concern that it was taken to the teacher, then escalated to the principal, and not resolved there and
Sure.
escalated to myself, if they
Sure.
then didn't like my answer, then the board would be the next level.
Right.
I've never had one
Mhm, go that far.
go that far.
Mhm. I mean, I guess I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But that's where I don't know exactly what this would be. I think this isn't outlining the process to get to this hearing. I think that would be in the other policies, like, just like our current policies do.
Mhm.
But I think it would make sense to go ahead and adopt both of them.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. Yeah, and 141, I don't think there's anything. I mean, that would be a,
It's kind of a weird title,
it is a weird
Yeah.
title,
number.
yeah. Can we change the name
To
of
a
it?
number of
Or
board
is
members.
that something that,
I don't know, I
that's
guess,
a
I can ask
Neola,
Tim.
it's just a weird. Yeah. And is that what our current policy states, or is it, does it state that it's 7 members plus 2?
I believe we have a
Student representatives.
Separate policy for student representatives.
I don't know if we have a board policy that says we have 7.
How is that? How does it come up?
Would
How
it
does
be under
just-
legal status or? Board officers? No, that's just the officers. Yeah, we don't have a policy that establishes how many. That's interesting. Because I feel like that should be a policy.
I guess how was it ever determined?
Yeah.
Way back
It's
when?
probably from our legal organization. My
right.
dad would be back when the district was consolidated. It probably used to be a 5-member board or 4-member, and then it brought in the outer school districts and probably consolidated to 7. There's some out there that haven't, but I bet it's in that, whatever that charter is, that legal standing.
But,
I'm just speculating, because there are some boards that have 9, there's some
Correct.
that have 5,
yep,
there's some
Even-
Ks that have 3, yeah.
I've heard others that have 13. You know,
Ooh.
really large
Yeah.
districts.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea, but.
All right, so let's see, this would fit, this would, bring in the 2 student members.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know if we should be saying on the number that it includes,
Should
plus.
we also add 2?
Should we
members?
say plus 2 student representatives, and then we have the student representative policy? And Jody, your comment about, that, to the student representative not having a vote,
Mhm.
we do have them vote.
An advice. we
It's
call
an
it
advisory
vote.
vote. So we've never had this situation since I've been on the board, but if you had, say you had a 4-3 vote, or, well, I guess we wouldn't have a tie vote, would we? Because we have a odd number,
Well, what if someone was absent though?
right? So would a student, I mean,
This-
I've never,
They
ever
statutorily can't.
okay, all right. I was gonna say, because I've never, ever seen the student representative vote differently than the majority.
Right.
They just generally go along with.
Yeah.
I did in New Glarus, but you're not. I'm very outspoken one in New Glarus.
But you never know, you could get a kid who actually is
Mhm.
wanting that to take a political career path or whatever, and want,
You're right.
have strong opinions or. But yeah, so statutorily, their vote it wouldn't sway a decision, correct? Okay,
Because they're not elected,
yeah, that's true.
like Puerto Rico.
It's a good analogy.
So do we
That
wanna
should be
add
seen.
language in there though to kind of keep that advisory vote?
Yeah,
or-
I feel like, I don't want it,
The student representative shall have an advisory vote.
yes, yeah, I don't want it to say that they shall not vote.
Yeah, it makes it more clear. Do they get an orientation now or?
Yes, Jason does their
Yeah.
orientation.
It's just funny, they showed up one day, I was like, oh. I
Yeah,
Well, they
I know.
change
Right.
every fall, we get new ones.
And I had one more comment on there, because it
Okay,
speaks to
sorry.
the selection process of the,
Yes, how
Student
are they
reps.
currently, yeah,
we could always reach out to, I think it's Jason Cleveland, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know what that process looks like,
So I would just
or we
put,
could
be
just strike
selected by
it.
the high school student council and leave it at that.
Okay.
Oh, no, number 4 is what I would do.
Okay,
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Number 4.
so as we go through these, I'm making notes like ready for board,
Okay.
discussion, further discussion need, whatever.
Mhm.
When it gets time to take this to the full board,
Yep.
are you comfortable with me then ahead of time going in and kind of wiping out everything that we didn't
Yes.
Yes,
select? Okay,
absolutely.
Yes.
I'll just compute that.
yeah,
It'll be too confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, I was confused by it at first too, so yeah.
yeah,
definitely.
okay.
Get rid of the fluff.
So for C, we're saying that they serve a school year basis beginning in September, which that's correct, right? That's what we do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have had a student from time or two serve 2 years in a row,
Correct. I've
which
had,
was
yeah,
actually nice, because then
right.
I had one.
Yeah, that
the
wasn't
other
too
one-
long ago that we had somebody do that, yeah. Was it Lily? I think it might have been Lily. Served 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. We good on this one?
Yeah.
Electoral process.
Just,
This is all boilerplate
yeah,
by the state.
I did have a question on this though,
Uh-huh.
because is this what our current policy is on this,
I don't think we have a current policy.
on
this.
electoral process?
Mhm.
That's why.
'Cause it's
we
all
just go by
governed by state statute.
Got it.
That's why I don't know why, I mean, do you really need it,
Well, here's the
it gives
thing,
access for people to see, but this is all state statute.
okay, which is fine, this is
Mhm.
all fine for me. However, if this is state statute, when Matt resigned, we did not have to, did we have that discussion? I don't even remember. Was it-
So when Matt resigned, he was, in the middle of his term, which fell under a
It was the middle of
separate board
his last,
policy
okay,
vacancies, which I think is coming up here.
Yeah, there was a vacancies thing.
Mm-hmm.
well, his vacancy was just filled, we did an appointment,
Right,
but we didn't have to.
We had a policy on the appointment,
yeah.
like filling a board vacancy. This is for the declaration of
Yeah.
candidacy.
So,
Okay,
Trying to
maybe it's on the
remember.
other, maybe it's on the further one
Yeah.
that I am referring to, yeah, this is,
No, we didn't fill, or did we fill Barb's?
yes, we did,
we did,
Devin-
that was Devin,
Devin.
yeah,
Devin was.
and then Kathy filled Matt.
Kathy filled Matt.
But so
Right.
that's why Kathy then had to run for reelection
Yeah,
at
Right.
the next election
But if
cycle.
you,
with. Devin.
if we're fine with
Yes.
this one, we can move on to
Okay.
the next, maybe it's under vacancies.
Yeah, it's under vacancies.
Yeah, it's further down, we'll get to it,
All right,
but I do wanna bring something up about that. So then qualifications. Oh, yeah,
that's
Hard.
passing no
That's-
judgment other than you.
See, and
Yeah.
to be real honest, I'm not a fan of that
I'm not
policy
either.
because it's really not, the other one was very much state statute. That one is
Correct.
not. I mean, to become a school elector, you have to be 18 years of age. You have to live
Correct.
within the district for, I believe, 30 days prior to.
Yeah, I would like to be much more
Why don't we
specific.
put that state statute language in there then?
Yep.
That'd be good to
Yeah.
have it clear.
Wow, missed that one. Yeah, we definitely need all that. I
Yeah.
just figured that was a. Standard. Yeah, we definitely want that. I like
That
the
might be a
30-day.
suggestion for Neola to change altogether,
Mhm.
because they. should have been-
Yeah,
All
I
right,
would
the
definitely-
terms, 3 years. Or, let's see. until
Did we
the
skip
vacancy
one? Did we
occurs.
skip qualifications?
no,
No, that was one.
That
we
was
were
one
just
we just
talking
did.
about.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Term oath. This is all boilerplate again.
Shirley says, raise your right hand.
so. I don't remember. Having to do, did I have to come in and sign something again when I got reelected? I don't-
Yeah, an oath.
I did?
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks for reminding me,
Yeah.
'cause I can't even remember that.
You have to do the whole.
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
I do remember coming to Bill's office once. I
Okay,
just don't remember doing it twice.
I'm sure you did. I'll look back, but
I don't know. I mean, I can't remember what I did last week, so.
yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the vacancy one. So filling a board vacancy.
What is the found mentally incompetent by the proper court?
Or like incapacitated.
Right, I know what I mean, but when it says the proper court, is that leaving it open-ended? to
Sure, like, you know,
determine
it could
which
be the
court?
circuit court, I guess. I don't know.
Meaning the court that, the proper court that would make that jurisdiction.
Correct. That's how I would read it.
Yeah, that's how I read it as well. Um. Where did I see that? Okay, when a vacancy occurs, this is all the way at the bottom under the option for a common school district or union high school.
Do we want the person to be removed if they have a felony?
That might be state statute.
So when a vacancy occurs in the office of a board member who is in the last year of his or her term, which that was Matt. He was in his last year,
Where am I at on this?
as the very last, that one, right there. Or when a vacancy occurs after the spring election, but on or before the last Tuesday in November in the office. Okay. The successor shall be elected at the next spring election. So they're using the word shall, meaning that is
Will, yeah,
will,
Yeah.
must.
yeah.
That's not what we did. We did. See, he resigned
He resigned in
In
August.
before
of-
the last Tuesday in November. He resigned the end of August, which was before the last Tuesday in November, meaning his position should have been filled through an election process the following spring. Not, according to this, I don't know if this is state statute or if this is just recommended language.
Oh, I think this is saying that. So that's for someone who's not in the last year of their term. They're saying even if you're a successor, you're appointed. Then you're going to be, you have to be elected at the next spring election.
Well, this
That's how I
is
read
referring
that.
to the appointee.
That's how I'm
Yes.
reading, I'm reading it, that even though you're appointed, so like, say Matt's term wasn't up in that December. That person still would have had to go to election for the spring.
See, I was reading it
Because
that,
the appointee shall hold office until the successor's elected. under this statute.
But then it also says when a vacancy occurs in the office of a board member who is in the last year of his or her term. Or when a vacancy occurs after the spring election, but on or before the last Tuesday in November.
You follow me, Mr. Huerta?
When a vacancy occurs after the last Tuesday in November, then you go to,
Absolutely, sir. Have a good day.
successor shall be.
Basically, any
appointed.
appointee is going to have to run. for
They run
board at
the-
next
Right,
election.
right.
Theoretically, that could end up getting all board seats on the same election cycle.
So
Well, yeah, theoretically, yeah. So
that
Matt resigned in August, I think, of 23,
last year.
and then. Yeah,
And
so
then
Kathy
he was up for reelection the
Correct.
next, that
And so
was
then
in the last
Kathy was
year of his term.
reelected in the spring of 24.
Correct,
Okay.
she was, but I'm saying, what I'm saying is that according to this language, how I'm reading it, and maybe I'm interpreting it incorrectly.
This is once they've been appointed, so I think up here is the language for appointing them, because I think you're reading it as if you don't appoint the position, right?
Well, it's just addressing vacancies. It's not addressing I mean, it is addressing appointments, but it's addressing how somebody vacates a seat in all the different circumstances. And then how you fill that board vacancy.
Mhm.
And then how you fill that board vacancy, these are the options below. Of filling the board
Yeah,
vacancy, so
it's
to
a
me,
state statute, because this is our current policy, which is, that's why we had to do it within 60 days, like Barb's, or otherwise.
Right.
The board president appoints someone.
correct,
Yeah, which you can leave it to that, just leave it to the board president to appoint, or it has to be. So there's that 1726, yeah.
I don't think, I mean, that is an option, which. I don't think that's the best option to choose.
No. So this is no departure from what our current policy is, because it's following Wisconsin statute 1726. Which is laid out.
So. We'll be selecting the one that's not crossed out. Am I correct? Okay. I mean, I think it's okay that we did an appointment rather than waiting, and maybe,
I think we had to do the
We had-
appointment.
yeah.
I'm just not sure, because the way this paragraph reads tells me that we don't have to appoint somebody to fill it.
Jason, can you go up to that section again?
So I don't agree with that, Julia, because it says right, the appointee, this is speaking to the person that you appointed. You want me to go to which section?
Well, right here. I might be missing the concern.
Okay. And maybe I'm just not reading it correctly.
I think Julia's reading that because this says, depending on when the person resigns or
So
the position
this-
comes open, she's interpreting this as saying that you don't have to fill it, it goes to the election.
So, are you guys interpreting this so that the only way this would happen is if somebody was appointed to a position and then resigned before November?
My understanding is that whenever there's an opening, there's an obligation to appoint someone. Either through that process within 60 days or by board president appointing them. That you have to get back to the full board within 60 days. And then the further language dictates when they have to go to election. So basically, they're gonna have to be on the next election cycle.
Mhm.
But there's a legal obligation for us to always appoint or fill that seat within 60 days
Okay. All right,
to get back to the full
because
board.
I'm not really seeing, is that in here somewhere that it has to be filled within 60 days? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
No,
If the vacancy is not filled within 60 days of the date on which the vacancy first exists, the vacancy shall be filled by.
oh, the appointment of the board president, okay.
So we have to have some stipulation in there how it's filled, but we have to fill it.
Okay, all right, now I'm kind of understanding. I was just concerned that the language was saying that we don't have to fill that until the next spring election.
That'd be easier, but
Because,
just
yeah,
go with 6 board members. That'd save us a lot of time. I would prefer that. And then just go to the next election.
yeah, but then you have the potential for a tie vote. Who breaks the tie? Do we have a policy on that, on who breaks the tie?
Doesn't pass.
Oh, it doesn't?
Robert's Rules of Order would be, it doesn't pass, so you'd have to go back and,
Because I'm just thinking, like, in city council, that's not the case. The mayor is the tie-breaking vote.
Hmm.
But in my case, the board president,
but you vote on.
I
all of
vote.
them. The mayor usually doesn't vote.
the mayor
unless there's a
doesn't vote,
tie.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Sorry, that took me a while.
Oh, that's all right. It's not, it is reflective of what we have in place, because it's
Okay.
statute, state statute.
Okay. When it says stuff like that, do we just leave it in there that we just list the state statute? We don't,
Yeah, we don't have anything currently like that, so you could choose to not adopt this at all if you didn't want to, but
well, if it's a state statute,
It's a
it
state
probably
statute.
needs to be there.
It'd help people if they're just looking.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, the thing I have in here that was, I just had a couple questions on. The board will provide and maintain a library of publications and reference materials for the use of board members. Is that something we currently have, or is
I
it
would
just
say-
all online, or?
We don't have like a library.
Right.
Other than the online and the WASB library.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah, okay.
I would say, yeah, I mean, this would be, I'll just have to make sure my board orientation, like, I do an orientation, meet with people, but I can't say that I went through these specific items,
Yeah,
but that's fine. But to go through that. Should we just strike this or? Or,
yeah, because
oh,
I,
it's not gonna be included because there's not a line anyway, right?
I mean, it will be included
Oh.
unless we strike it.
correct.
Okay.
I mean, when you do orientation, are you having the board members meet with Bill, or are you considering? Cause they're always invited to the annual budget meeting. I mean, that could be,
We do that, which is. And WASB has their orientation meeting. that we
Correct.
That we always invite them to, yeah.
right. Which I think, I mean, did you go to that WASD orientation, board member orientation?
I did.
Yeah.
It was here.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I
And
think
did you,
everybody has.
did you find it helpful? I know when I went, I enjoyed it and I learned a lot.
It was worth the time,
Yeah,
especially that it was here. And it was
Yeah.
traffic.
yeah, I had to go to Whitewater.
I'd still go to Whitewater.
Yeah.
Not much further, but yeah, I think it was helpful.
Um, Yeah, did you see anything on this one, Adam, that?
No.
Okay. I'll go with that.
Right. Ooh, jeez. All right,
Authority of individual board members. The next one, I think, is the one that I think, the public expression one, that one's gonna need some discussion. Um,
Jody, did you put discussion needed?
Yes.
I
Just-
think so.
Just because there were two options?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
thought maybe you had
because I
no
want
in
to
there.
just
No.
choose one. out.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought maybe there was something you flagged or, okay.
So we need to look at, to understand this one, we need to look at 143.2.
yeah, that was actually the last one that I got through in terms of reading all this. I feel like the second one is the one that we should choose, but that's my personal opinion.
Let's see the second one.
So in 143, option 2. Yes, I agree with that.
Because of what it states in letter A on
Is-
143.2. So
Is
if,
this one saying that we don't adopt 143.2?
yeah, I was gonna say, if we choose number 2, I don't think we adopt 143.2.
Because I would recommend, having seen this being part of the Gateway Board,
Yeah,
and again, it's just like that scenario where you said that,
Mhm.
well, Jason here hasn't been a problem. I'd say with our board, this hasn't been a problem, but I have seen on that board, it'd be very problematic and time consuming
got it.
for upper level administrative staff where there's this one member who's constantly doing all
Sure.
these requests. And really, not that they're necessarily bad requests, but it's if you're going to want this information compiled, which would require lengthy research, and then that should be really a decision for the
The whole
entire
board.
board that wants that, not because
Right,
person X is on a individual mission, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. But so to be frank, that's one that I see
I got
that
it.
board where we're struggling with because they don't have. I would say
Because there's no
they're
guidelines.
operating more, he's operating more under this.
yeah,
Whoops. And I've seen the administration struggle with
sure.
that, but again, it's not a problem.
Yeah,
that
no, that's a
read
good
that. I
point.
don't have people sitting there. You know, as we've always been able to accommodate whatever's asked.
But you're right, looking forward, you could get a board member that could really be a problem.
What's nice is if you have it in place, that's right, you need to look at 143.2 more. See, it doesn't deny like. You have the same right to all the information any citizen has. When you'd like a lengthy research investigation, I'm not talking like some simple request, but something, then it's just reviewed at the meeting as the board of a whole, and I working as the board president on that group, again, I don't think that sometimes what he's asked is a bad thing, it's just if they're going to spend the time to compile it, that should be a report for the whole board. Cause that's what's actionable, is when the whole board sees the reviews.
The only. The language in the paragraph A concerns me a little bit. The second sentence, requests by individual board members for documents which would be exempt from disclosure to the general public, meaning. That board member doesn't have the right to see documents. Any other documents than the general public would see. That concerns me a little bit, and can we even get away with that? When we're going into closed session and seeing things on student records, I mean, we're constantly being shown
I wonder,
records that aren't available to the general public.
I wonder if this is speaking more to maybe employee records. So there's certain things that are exempt from.
Like, I wanna see this administrative investigation. report.
Yeah, or if there was, perhaps if we had some health records on an employee for a workers' comp, let's say.
Sure.
Those I don't believe the general public
No.
would request.
What I like it saying, it's not saying that it won't be granted, it's just saying the board will review the request and
Got it.
determine whether to release it. So that'd have to be a closed session item, the person would have to state, hey, here's why I'm wanting this confidential record.
Got it.
Which isn't a public record, and then the rest of the board would have to say, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
It puts that check and balance in
Sure.
where
sure.
it's not a separate rogue board,
I was more concerned that it was gonna restrict. It was going to bog down the process for us to even be able to see, because we see a lot of records that aren't available to the general public. And so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna bog that process down, but if it's
right, but like none of you have ever said, hey, I wanna see the grades of this student.
correct,
And,
Yeah.
cause I wanna check to make sure they're really valedictorian.
yeah,
Or nobody's ever had
Yeah.
requests like that, I'm
Right.
just throwing out
for sure.
scenarios.
Yeah.
And not that that would be invalid for a board member, but I think that's something that, okay, well, as a board, it just protects, I think, that board as a whole
Yep,
on
yep,
precluding from that level. But again, it's either way, like I said, it's not a problem now, I don't care either way, I've just
Right.
seen, I wish that the Gateway Board had
something like this.
that policy in place because it would help us manage a difficult trustee. But. And I'm saying that with my board,
Your board hat on, yeah,
not as a
not as an administrator.
administrator, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really care as an administrator that. Much, and I guess what I would, and what I've done to kind of manage that as the board president is just. Yeah, go ahead and give it to him, give it to all the board members.
Mhm.
Is that. Counter to just one person having
Right.
information.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that point of view because I wasn't thinking in that direction.
I've never denied an information request from a board member in
Yeah.
my 12 years here that yeah. I've never had an inappropriate information.
But I
request.
think you're right. I think that's a good thing, because if you got a rogue board member who was on a mission. Like number 4, the board may impose limitations on volume, scope, and timing of information requests. I think at that point, it becomes the responsibility of the board to determine the scope and type of information that they're requesting and the time that it's taking the administration, because if one board member is tying up administrative work and preventing you guys from getting your real work done, that's a problem. And the board as a whole should have a say in that to limit one particular board member.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch my opinion on this.
Yeah, me too, because I didn't have that thought process in my head when I initially read this, but
Yeah, Jason, good call there.
I'm just happy to deal with it, and it's a pain in the keister, for the individuals involved, and then I feel bad for the college president, the CFO,
yep,
student, because there's no
There's no
recourse
check and
really
balance.
this, I actually really, and the more I look at this, I
Yeah.
really like it, because again, it's not denying that, it's just
Right.
providing that reiteration that you're an individual board member, we work together in
Yes.
decisions as a board as a whole,
yes,
and,
Yeah, putting it back into the whole board's hands,
uh-huh,
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, so I'm happy with that first.
and I think for
Option.
board members, this gives a good outline of the process too.
Yes,
Now, the first option or the second option?
the
The
first option,
Okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
first
we're-
one.
and then we would
And then we keep
then
the
adopt
board
143.2 as well.
Perfect.
Okay. How much time do you think we're gonna need for
Oh, we should probably, what was the last one that you got to?
143.2? The
Oh,
one that we
okay,
just looked
so we're
at.
there, all right, well, let's do the early grad then,
Um,
is that all right?
Yeah.
We switch
I'm
right,
good with that.
okay,
Do we want to do 143.1 just to stay in order, since we went to
Oh.
143.2?
oh, we did? Oh, yeah, we did,
Yeah.
we missed that one, yes,
Whoops.
thank you.
all right,
Yeah, because I wanted to have some discussion.
okay.
Um. I like that language. And. I think we've had some issues with this in the past with former board members. Where it was not being made clear that those were that particular individual's views, and that didn't necessarily reflect the views of the board or their colleagues on the board, so I like that. I wonder if, does it say something in here about, I remember reading something, and I don't remember if it was here or somewhere else, that, oh, here, it's in the first sentence. The board president functions as the official spokesperson for the board. While that is probably true, I feel like we've traditionally, from a media forward facing, the board president has typically given that responsibility over to the district administrator. Right?
Correct, yes, however, I think this is, so I
Or is
am
this
the
more the
public
legal-
sportsperson for
legal
the
side of it?
district, but I think this is the,
The legal side
for
of
the
it?
board, like if someone asks, what does the board think
Got it.
on this? Like, for Gateway, I'm the spokesperson now, so if there's a media inquiry to the board, then all the board members know
Got it.
that the board president responds to that. If deemed,
Are you the
Yeah,
Gateway board
necessary.
president?
no,
Okay,
if deemed necessary. So, but when I was vice president or just the trustee, I didn't,
you didn't
never
talk to the
worry
media.
about it,
Yeah.
I didn't worry about it.
Yeah.
Now Gateway has a press or media person
right,
so I don't get very many.
yeah,
I get one from a blogger type over there, and they're not really serious media inquiries.
yeah.
But
So as a function of being the official spokesperson, I mean, certainly I could act as that, but with that, I would probably also need to say that my views don't necessarily reflect, unless it was,
if it was like, why did the board vote to,
right,
you know,
do
do
this,
this?
yeah.
Yeah, then I think that would be,
yeah.
yeah. We haven't had, I can't think of a time where we ever had a direct media inquiry to the board
Well,
specifically, but I could be wrong.
I think there've been a few times when I've had the media reach out to me and I have directed them to you.
There could be one, like if you were hiring a new district administrator, you might make a
Right.
statement
Right,
for the board.
I could see, like on our board policies and stuff on, when we had the, related to the book issue, that they wanted a statement, but, okay. I think this leaves it open-ended enough still, because it's not, there's nothing that,
it prevents the board president from,
or prohibits other board members from making individual comments. It's
Correct.
just saying that they should imply that these, my opinion, and be cognizant of the misunderstandings that can result. Any other thoughts on that one, or? Okay.
no, I think it's good as written. Are you happy with it?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, well. I had a feeling that that's about all I was able to get through in preparation for today, and that's,
It's the most
Based on our-
policies reviewed ever in a possibility.
based on the time that we have left, I think that was right about where we needed to be, so.
All right, well, thank anyone who happened to join online, but we're going to go to a closed session now.